I'm going to start out with, and this is Ron. In my reelection, the endorsements from John Rees and Lisa Bennett are predictable, given their extensive business relationship with the Remus family, from which they stand to gain financially if their preferred candidates win, he said. It's disheartening to see board members willing to trade their endorsements for personal gain. So my comment, Ron, if you have anything on that, proof on that, documentation on that, then bring it forward. If you don't, then I think you need to admit that this is not a true statement. Period. Okay? Because this is what our observer printed and said that you said. I didn't even know really what the Remus family did until I was in John's office a couple weeks ago and we looked it up. I have not gotten anything from them, and I know Lisa hadn't either. Not one penny. So if you have anything on that, I suggest you bring that forward, because I don't appreciate it. Okay, next is something that was dropped off and want to know why we wouldn't do anything. It's a lady on something social media. I'd like to express my gratitude to Commissioner Ron Mueller for being the sole public official to take action on the problematic intersection at Park, Avalon, and Oakland Avenue. We have all been beating on that and trying to get that done. Where she would come up with that kind of statement, I've called to ask her, but haven't got a return call. And I think we know where it came from. Reading other things that have been handed me that's been put on people's doors on social media. Navigating challenges posed by some board members with unchecked development interest, I've remained steadfast in prioritizing cautious growth. The only commissioner to speak out on the impacts of the OCPS bus depot on Story Road. If I remember right, I think every commissioner here spoke out against that. You're proud to say you're the only commissioner that's not a developer, not a realtor, large landowner, or in retail construction. I don't think I fall in any of those. I'm not sure that Colin and, so, but that doesn't keep them from doing their job. Recognize the importance of financial stability for every family. Ron has successfully lowered taxes. I cannot think of an instance where that has happened. And once again, I want to say, if anybody on the commission here or any staff member, if I'm saying anything wrong, anything incorrect, or misgiving facts, I would appreciate if you would stop me, correct me, and I will apologize and move forward. But this is how I have read these things. This is from looking things up and from being on this commission. Mueller's no-build draft ordinance passed unanimously at Thursday's City Commission meeting. I have no idea what a no-build draft ordinance, unless you're talking about the interchange at F1 Road, where staff did a lot of the work in doing all of that. My efforts have included securing the land that links Dr. Bradford Park with Newton Park. We did that May the 24th, 2018, and that started with Mike talking to the owner of the land years before that and said, when you're ready to sell, call us, we would like to get it. I remember Mike talking to me back, and I don't remember the year, but we closed on that in 2018, 3 years before you were on the commission. Advancing the acquisition of 2 pivotal plots in the Pavilion Park. The best I know, Mr. Anthony called John and said that he had had an offer on those. He was willing for the city to purchase those. John called me. I assume he called some others. We voted on it as a city commission and approved that. Spearheading the ambitious $25 million development of Tucker Ranch. Secured $25 million for the new Tucker Ranch, leveraging $13 million in corporate donations. Once again, I'm confused on the $13 million in corporate donations. Don't know where. I know that we used the ARPA money, which was probably around $14 million. Healthy West Orange, back in 2020, gave us $6 million. Advent, who had been talking with for several years, as well as Health Central, came up with $1.2 million. Negotiating the purchase of the CenturyLink lot on Plant Street. I know you didn't like the way it looked, but the negotiations were started back in 2019, 2020, I believe, by Mr. Williams, and I believe Mr. Williams, Ed Williams, handled all of that. the negotiations and the contract. Sponsored a mutual agreement with Orange County to resurface the road and turn over to the city on Avalon. There was no involvement efforts for turning over county roads initiated. It was all initiated by the staff back in 2021. And I do remember, I think John and I going over with meeting with Mayor Demings and Mr. Brooks, talking about several items. One was turning over of Avalon Road and other county roads. Most notably, Ron's strategic initiatives have saved our local neighborhoods over $4 million in the last 3 years. Saved residents $2.5 million in liens, penalties, and interest left behind by previous developers. This was a code violation that staff worked extremely hard on getting rectified. And once they did, as we do on so many of that, then they brought it to the City Commission, told us that they had all the issues worked out, and asked us to forgive the liens and penalties, of which we as a City Commission did. Blocked the development of 66 townhomes on Avalon. I guess it's our definition of block. It's not blocked. This was just tabled that night. Blocked the expansion of Circle K from 1,800 to 5,000 square feet. Once again, it's your definition of block. This was not blocked. It was just postponed to a date uncertain. Driving the initiative to have Winter Garden Fire Department transport patients directly to hospitals. This was started by the fire chief and city manager 2014. We looked at it around 2019, started taking it serious. Mr. Long, had probably given us a couple different financial packages on it where we estimated the expenses, estimated revenues, trying to understand what percent of revenues we would actually collect. So this was a long process that our staff worked very hard on and brought it to the City Commission. Went back and forth a few times before we passed it. One of them stated, I've initiated a new plan at the beginning of 2023 where city staff outlines the annual schedule as opposed to each single event. My understanding is from staff that they did this. I guess the point of this is, in reading a couple of things, you know, you didn't want to bring Washington to Winter Garden. You talked about unifying and unity, and you talked about getting the truth out there to all of our constituents. You just take it away from our staff in this commission. Our staff does a wonderful job, and to read this, I just don't know how that makes them feel, because they make our job so much easier because of the great job that they do. That's where I think the credit needs to go. I think the credit needs to go to our staff and not to one person. One person cannot do anything. It takes 3 votes on this city commission. And I guess I just kept getting this stuff till I just got frustrated. And, you know, I laid awake all the time last night thinking about this. And I just think we need to make it public and say, thank you, staff. Thank you, our city commission, for what you do. It takes all of us working together. We always don't all agree on things, but we sit down, we talk back and forth, and we come up with a resolution. And we do that because we work together in a business, a professional, and respectful manner. And for that, I'm appreciative. And I'll be quiet now.
Thank you, John.
With that, we will adjourn.